things just got real messy in hip-hop, and this time it's hitting dangerously close to the BMF legacy. Big Meech, the man whose life inspired an empire, has allegedly called out Rick Ross for scamming him out a massive $120 million deal. And now Lil Meech, his son and the face of the hit BMF series, has finally broken his silence. Looks like Rick Ross just pulled what people are calling a $120 million hustle. And guess who got caught in the middle? Big Meech himself. Now 50 Cent's out here having the time of his life, clowning the whole situation. And honestly, who can blame him? It's the kind of chaos nobody saw coming, especially since Ross built so much of his image around honoring the real Big Meech. From name-dropping him in hits to publicly tying himself to the BMF brand, Ross always made it seem like he was family. But according to new claims, that loyalty might have just been smoke and mirrors. And Lil Meech's reaction? Let's just say he didn't hold back. His response sent shock waves through the industry, sparking debate over whether Ross has finally been exposed for what many suspected all along, using street legends for clout and cash. All this comes after Ross hyped up a $120 million BMF-inspired project that allegedly never came to life. A move that's now being seen as a betrayal of the man who made his brand possible to begin with. Fans are calling it déjà vu, pointing out how Ross has been accused before of borrowing from real icons, from the real Rick Ross to Larry Hoover. So what really went down between Big Meech and Rick Ross? And what did Lil Meech say that set the internet on fire? Ross slid in smooth, selling dreams like a seasoned hustler, promising movie deals, massive projects, and Hollywood-level money moves. It all sounded too good to be true. And in the end, it was. When the cameras stopped flashing and the hype cooled off, Ross vanished back into his luxury world, leaving Meech and his son out in the cold, empty-handed, betrayed, and confused.
I feel bad for Lil Meech. I don't feel bad for no grown man on this planet. Like, I'm a grown man. Why I gotta feel bad for another grown man? Like, you a grown man too. You asking for my sympathy for. You be alright.
According to Street Talk, this entire situation was predictable from day one. When Big Meech finally walked free last October, fans expected a redemption arc, the king returning to rebuild his empire, this time the legitimate way. The anticipation was real. Everyone wanted to see Meech win. Then suddenly, Rick Ross popped up, promising massive $120 million film deals and life-changing projects. On paper, it looked like Meech was finally about to profit from his own legacy. But when the smoke cleared, Ross was all talk and zero receipts. The grand empire he hyped up? Nothing but illusion. No projects, no progress, no payout. Instead, Ross used the Meech brand as a prop, another flex in his long-running feud with 50 Cent. And the streets noticed instantly. They called it what it was, pure clout chasing. Everyone already knew who had truly been carrying the BMF legacy, none other than 50 Cent. He's the one who financed the BMF series, paid for Lil Meech's acting lessons, and opened the doors that earned him real Hollywood credibility. Meanwhile, Ross was busy collecting headlines, not helping Meech build anything solid. Still, Meech kept siding with Ross, ignoring the one man who had genuinely honored his name. That move didn't sit right. Even Tony Yayo called it out, reminding everyone that 50 had backed Lil Meech since day one. No gimmicks, no fake loyalty. Now the buzz is that Meech's momentum is slowing, pressure building, and reality setting in. Turns out, Ross was never there for brotherhood or respect. He just wanted to use Meech's story as ammo to take shots at 50. The result? Big Meech, once the king, ended up looking like someone else's pawn. And that's when 50 Cent decided he'd had enough of staying silent. He came swinging the only way 50 knows how, with jokes, shade, and that signature troll energy. Word is, he even claimed Rick Ross asked Lil Meech for his father's address, just so he could send over a box of Wingstop wings.
I wasn't going to address this, because I'm not trying to let nobody trick me off the streets. But I never folded, never told, never will. Death before dishonor, always with me. So I'm doing this for my loved ones and the support of my friends and family to come out to the Amarant Arena February 13th.
But that little jab from 50 wasn't just for laughs. It came with a message under all that sarcasm. He was basically calling out Rick Ross for serving up empty promises instead of truly feeding the Meech legacy. Classic 50, funny on the surface but cutting deep underneath. And it hit hard because there was truth in every line. Then things got personal. 50 started spilling serious tea about Lil Meech's struggles behind the scenes. He claimed he had to step in more than once, sending Lil Meech to rehab after he allegedly showed up on set drunk, got sick during training, and completely lost focus while filming. And then came the infamous Whippets incident. Those nitrous oxide canisters reportedly found in Meech's truck. 50 said he didn't even know what Whippets were until he Googled them, laughing about it, but still making a point. He was the one holding everything together while others were spiraling. Through it all, 50 painted himself as the grown man in the room, the one keeping Lil Meech's career alive while Ross and Big Meech, in his view, played reckless with their names. But even after all that, Lil Meech still didn't pull away from Ross. He kept getting spotted out partying with him, smiling for cameras, acting like nothing was wrong. That's when the streets started roasting what was left of the once powerful BMF image. That flashy bond with Ross, built more on ego than loyalty, collapsed faster than anyone expected. Then Michael Rainey Jr., one of the stars of Power, jumped in and didn't hold back. He flat out said he didn't feel sorry for either Big Meech or Lil Meech because, in his words, grown men should have seen this coming.
I feel bad for Lil Meech. I don't feel bad for no grown man in this planning. Like, I'm a grown man. Why do I feel bad for another grown man? Like, you a grown man too. You asking for my sympathy for you be alright.
That clip of Michael Rainey Jr. calling out the whole situation went viral across social media in seconds. And when 50 Cent caught wind of it, he didn't hold back one bit. He doubled down instantly, standing firm behind Rainey's statement and making it clear he agreed that the Meech camp was looking weak and easily finessed. 50 didn't try to clean it up or walk it back. Nope, he owned it completely, labeling the entire mess as another case of blind loyalty and bad decision-making. And let's be honest, Rick Ross leaving people hanging isn't anything new. It's practically his trademark. Word around the streets is this isn't the first time Ross has gone missing when the heat turned up. Allegedly, he once left his own crew stranded in Canada during a brawl. They fought while he slipped out, only to reappear later, claiming it was all a loyalty test. Cold move. But if you know Ross's history, it fits his pattern. Smooth talk, wild promises, and quick exits whenever things get real. Then came Ross's own words, throwing gasoline on the fire. He started promoting this so-called BMF movie, saying fans had already seen a low-budget series, clearly taking shots at 50's BMF show. And now it was time for the real big-budget film. He even started name-dropping directors like Gary Gray, Antoine Fuqua, and Quentin Tarantino, acting like Hollywood elites were already attached. But it was all cap. No movement, no paperwork, just Ross doing what he does best, selling fantasies. Even Whack 100 chimed in, calling Ross the real snake moving in silence. He said Ross was never a genuine ally to Big Meech, just a manipulator using his name to throw shade at 50. And Whack didn't hold back. He said if Ross really wanted to build something, he'd have done it quietly. No cameras, no circus, just action. But that's not Ross's lane. He turned everything into a self-promo campaign. The deals, the attention, the spotlight, it all revolved around him. He paraded Meech's name like a trophy, milking that association for clout while giving nothing back. That's when people started connecting the dots. Ross had been playing chess the whole time, slowly turning Big Meech against 50 Cent, the same man who helped lift Lil Meech's career from the ground up. And when it was all said and done, there were no films, no fortune, no legacy, just empty promises, fake headlines, and one harsh truth about who really came out on top. And when the smoke cleared, reality hit hard. Rick Ross was never truly about building anyone else's empire. His loyalty only stretched as far as his own profit. And once Big Meech no longer fit that plan, the brotherhood disappeared overnight.
It's the biggest boss, Ricky Rose. The time has come. Meech home. February 13th. Get your tickets right now. It's going down. We know Florida gonna be there. Miami gonna be there.
Whispers started spreading fast. People saying Ross might have been the real reason behind the cancellation of Meech's Welcome Home benefit event. Fans had originally blamed 50 Cent, assuming he'd sabotaged it somehow. But insiders revealed something darker. According to them, Ross didn't want Meech to come back strong. He wanted him sidelined, out of the spotlight. While Ross played hero online, soaking up attention, Meech faded quietly. Many saw it as the ultimate betrayal, using another man's legacy as a prop instead of helping him rebuild it. And that's when the energy started shifting. The streets stopped rooting for Meech. The vibe changed completely. Then Meech made it worse. Instead of regrouping, he fired back at 50 Cent, calling him an internet gangster and accusing him of hiding behind his phone. Just another troll chasing clout. But it was too late. The damage was already done, and nobody was buying it. The people saw right through it. It looked like what it was, pure damage control. By that point, 50's jokes had already landed. The memes were everywhere, and the internet had already chosen who the real clown was. And once you dig into Ross's past, the pattern becomes impossible to ignore. It's not loyalty, it's opportunism. Time and time again, Ross forms big alliances in the industry, and nearly everyone ends the same way, with someone else getting burned. Look at Maybach Music's early years. Whale, Meek Mill, Gunplay, all once part of Ross's powerhouse crew. But over time, cracks started showing. Artists began speaking up about shady contracts, missing money, and promises that never matched reality. In public, Ross acted like the supportive boss. But behind closed doors, whispers told another story. Control, ego, manipulation, all the things that always seemed to follow him. So when people say Ross played Big Meech, it's not shocking. It's history repeating itself. Another friendship turned into a headline. Another legacy used for leverage. When you really look at Ross's history, a clear pattern jumps out: opportunism over loyalty. Nearly every major alliance he's made in hip-hop ends the same way. Confusion, conflict, and someone else holding the short end of the stick. From the early Maybach Music Group days to his fallouts with old allies, Ross mastered the art of turning friendships into front-page news. Take MMG, for example. Whale, Meek Mill, Gunplay, all once proud soldiers under his banner. But as time passed, frustration started bubbling up. Artists began hinting at sketchy deals, missing checks, and broken promises that never matched the hype. Ross smiled for cameras, playing the boss role, but behind the scenes, stories told something different: control, ego, and manipulation. Even Meek Mill, once his right-hand man, eventually stepped back after realizing the empire wasn't built for everyone to win. It was built to keep Ross on top. And now it looks like Big Meech fell into that same cycle. The so-called $120 million project Ross hyped? Just smoke and mirrors. Another headline, another wave of buzz, and Ross walks away with all the attention, while Meech is left with nothing but confusion. People are catching on. Every time Ross's name starts to fade, he finds someone new to attach himself to, someone with street credibility, someone who can make him look connected again. Meanwhile, 50 Cent is playing a whole different game. He's not chasing attention. He's building empires. Real business, real success, and real longevity. While Ross stirs controversy for clicks, 50 turns real-life stories into billion-dollar franchises. That's the difference. One chases relevance, the other builds legacy. The fans see it, the streets see it, and even the industry insiders are starting to admit it. Ross might be out here playing checkers while 50's been playing chess from day one. And that leaves one question still floating in the air. How many more people will Rick Ross pull into his orbit before they figure out the game? Because if history's taught us anything, it's this: everyone standing next to him eventually learns the same hard truth. Loyalty fades, but clout lasts forever.
I do want to do a BMF film because you've been entertained by a lackluster, small budget series. Now it's time to do a big budget film. Which director? Shout out to my homie F. Gary Gray, Antoine Foucault, what's up? Tarantino. It's a lot of legends. This is gonna be big.
See, this isn't new. Ross has built his entire empire off borrowed names and borrowed legacies. The BMF connection with Big Meech was just the latest chapter. Think about it. What if Ross's so-called loyalty to Meech was never about honoring him, but about becoming him? About taking his story and wearing it like a crown in the culture's eyes? It sounds wild, but it fits perfectly. Ross's entire career started the same way, build off someone else's story. His whole persona came from the real Rick Ross, the drug kingpin whose name, look, and legacy he borrowed while the real man sat behind bars. When a real Ross got out and tried to reclaim his name, even taking him to court, Ross didn't blink. He doubled down, made more money, and kept pushing the myth. Then he did it again with Larry Hoover, dropping his name in songs, visuals, and interviews to borrow that same street credibility. Same pattern, different legends. And now with Big Meech, it's deja vu. Another legacy borrowed. Another name flipped for profit. Another man left in the background while Ross shines under someone else's light. It paints a pretty clear picture. Rick Ross has made a career out of turning real pain into personal profit. And when the dust settles, he's always the one walking away with a win. Even 50 Cent called this years ago, saying Ross never earned respect as a man. The people have spoken, but the real question still stands. Is Rick Ross just playing the game, or did he really leave Big Meech high and dry? At this point, the situation between Big Meech, Rick Ross, and Lil Meech has become more than just another hip-hop feud. It's a story about loyalty, legacy, and trust gone wrong. And if the allegations are true, then Ross may have once again profited off someone else's name, turning another man's real-life struggles into his next headline. But this time it's different, because it's not just any name, it's Big Meech, a figure whose story carries deep weight in both the streets and the culture. Lil Meech's reaction has only amplified the tension. His words hit with emotion. You can feel the frustration of a son watching someone allegedly play with his father's legacy. And while some fans think Ross is being misunderstood, others believe the truth has finally caught up to him. Either way, one thing's clear. The BMF name isn't something to play with. Whatever the truth may be, this feud has exposed the cracks in hip-hop's loyalty game. The culture is watching closely, and if Ross doesn't address it soon, his reputation might take a hit no Maybach music rollout can fix. Because in the end, clout fades, but respect lasts forever. And right now, the streets are asking the question that could define the next chapter of this saga. Did Rick Ross really scam Big Meech? Or is there more to the story than anyone's letting on?